Did you know you can actually train your brain? In today's video, I will walk you through 5 methods I've personally used to consume large amount of complex information. But I have to tell you this, it is hard and painful to reprogram your own mind. It is almost like you are manipulating yourself, and it requires hard work and a lot of self-awareness to be able to do just that. And to be honest, some of you might not be able to do this actually, since it really requires you to look into yourself and judge yourself and be able to pinpoint out your own flaws. Now you know this, let's get into it. Number 1. Take difficult actions. Why do you want to go through hard actions? Well, from my experience, an anxiety is created when you feel pain from a hard action or task that you have to make in your current situation. And say for example that you choose not to take this action, that particular action, and hide from it. Well, this will probably increase an anxiety you have. And from my personal experience, this might lead to depression in the worst case scenario. But one funny thing is that studies have shown that by taking difficult actions and eventually completing them grows your brain as a muscle. And I will leave an article down in the description so you guys can take a look at it by yourself. Though the brain is structured a different way compared to a muscle, that doesn't mean you can't evolve it. So how do you train your brain? Well, when you take a new type of action that you are not familiar with, you will essentially create neurological pathways, which will make your mind adapt to that particular action. But this doesn't mean that you can only make that decision only once. You have to consistently execute these types of actions for your brain to grow. So what type of actions should you take? Well, I'll ask you this question. What actions do I not want to take? It might be that you don't want to exercise, learn math, learn physics, or learn computer science, for example. And I'm gonna be super transparent here. I cannot help you with this decision. You have to ask yourself this question and figure this out by yourself. The key perspective from this is that the action you choose has to be one that you don't want to take. Number 2, learn something new every day. I mean, literally learn something that you don't know. So how do you grow your capacity to store information? Well, there are multiple techniques that you can choose. But from my experience, you still have to be able to focus for a long period of time to be able to execute those tasks. So you have to sit down and listen to long form content. For example, a 1 hour plus YouTube video, or maybe read a book of your choice. I would also recommend that the content you're watching is something valuable. Say for example, instead of reading romance, thrillers and fantasy books, read maybe history about different currencies, history about World War I or World War II. My point here is that you have to invest your time in information that can provide you value to you right now or in the future. I also recommend that you figure out what study methods you are inferior in. I mean, for example, the human mind and the body can technically use 4 ways to absorb information. And if you are interested in what type of ways your brain can actually absorb information in, here's a list. Number A, listen to the information. If this is something you are inferior in, then I highly recommend you try to study in a way that consume information only by listening. For example, that you listen to a 2-hour long form podcast on YouTube. What you can actually do to the video for like 30 minutes or so, without taking any notes, and then take a break and try to remember the information that you just listened to. Do this consistently and I will promise you that you will improve in this aspect. Number B, practical engagement. This is a study method to make you take practical actions based on what you have learned. Coding is actually a prime example of this. You can also read a book and try to make the information you learned valuable to you by executing information that you read in the book in some sort of action. Say for example that you read a book about trading. What you want to do is take notes and then use that information for your own personal gain. Maybe you succeed to earn more money, who knows. Number C, visual engagement. This is where you see the information in a visual manner. This can be a very useful technique because images explain 1,000 words, and if you are able to consume an image that explains 1,000 words, well, then you just read a whole book of information. And this last study method is something that I try to improve myself, but also something that is really useful if you can do it. And I call this image mind. This method is something that not everyone can use, obviously. Have you ever read a book, literally remembered a page word for word? That is something not anyone can do. And I'm gonna be completely honest, those that have this ability have an advantage over those who don't. If you have this ability, then congrats, you are actually someone special. From my experience, this ability can vary in strength. Some people can see words for words, while others see a blurry image of the content, or a blurry image of words. But if you have this ability, then let me tell you the ways you can train your mind to remember a large amount of information. What you want to do is essentially to sit down and just look at the page or the image for as long as possible, and don't take any notes. Just sit down and look at the image and don't take any notes. Literally just look at the image and then remove that image or the page from you and try to imagine an image in your head and specifically the details. If you do this eventually, you will be able to remember a highly large amount of complex information just by remembering an image. And if you have this ability, please improve it. This will help you a lot. I can promise you guys that. Method number 3 is essentially exercise 3 or more times per week. And this is actually what we talked about before in the beginning. Hard tasks grow your mind, and that is also in the case when it comes to working out. Physical activity also grows your brain because you also create new pathways when you are active. But this doesn't mean you have to go to the gym essentially. You can, for example, learn how to dance. You can also learn how to swim. If you prefer to just do some aerobic exercises instead of something else, then that's fine. Just do something with your body daily. You can literally just take a walk if you want to. It is as simple as that. And number 4 is maintain a clean and adjustable diet. Proper nutrition is vital for optimal brain function and overall health. A diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats provides essential nutrition that support cognitive function and memory retention. Additionally, staying hydrated is also as crucial. It can impair cognitive performance. It is also important to adjust your diet based on your individual needs and goals, obviously. I would also ask you this: are your dopamine levels in check? If not, try to figure out what factors in your life that are dependent on those levels and how extreme those factors influence your life. Something you might want to think about is A. If you consume a large amount of sugar, this can cause a sugar rush, which will obviously increase your dopamine in such a way that it will crash later. And if you consume a large amount of caffeine, this might cause you to have mood swings and large dips of motivation, which is not optimal at all. And if you jerk off and watch some sexual pleasing content, not only does this damage and shrink your brain, but it also have the same effect as consuming a large amount of nicotine. This will probably result in a large increase in dopamine and then a large dip in dopamine, which creates a sinus curve that really just influences your life and makes you lose motivation. But remember, these are only some major factors that can influence your dopamine levels a lot, and I highly recommend you take control over these urges. And number 5, which is something I particularly have to practice because I'm not really that good at it, and that is practice mindfulness and meditation. Incorporating mindfulness practices and meditation into your daily routine can have profound benefits for your brain health and cognitive function. Mindfulness techniques such as focused breathing exercises or body care help reduce stress, improve concentration, and enhance emotional regulation. Regular meditation has been shown to increase gray matter density in areas of the brain associated with memory, learning, and self-awareness. Dedicate time each day to cultivate mindfulness through meditation or mindfulness exercises to support your brain training efforts. I also want to mention that there are more methods to incorporate in your daily routine, and I encourage you to do so. Anyways guys, I hope you got something out of this, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching and have a great day.